Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman here, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype here on your Monday, January 13th, 2025. Let's take a look at what we're tracking here for today as we're looking at a series of Arctic invasions that'll be coming down at us as we head for the next 10 to 14 days. We'll take a look at the latest on that. We'll let you know when our next potential winter storm is looking like, and there's been some going back and forth on the models here lately on that, and we'll talk about that in greater detail as well. And then we'll talk about Southern California. We're looking at any rains anytime soon to help out some of those fire relief efforts out there. We'll see what the models have in store for you there. Now, before we get going, if you're new to the channel and you have not yet subscribed, please do so at this time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, please leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're seeing here for this morning. Fairly quiet across a big part of the country. We do have a little bit of rain here down along the Gulf Coast of Florida into South Georgia and Alabama. We'll show you that here in just a second. Just plain old cold here in the middle of the country. And outside of the Pacific Northwest, getting a little bit of rain up there into Washington and in Oregon. Southern California is looking very, very much on the dry side. In fact, those Santa Ana winds may be kicking back up here for the days ahead. In fact, if you look out here, we've got the red flag warnings, and we do have the wind advisories out here in the areas of Southern California. So that is a little bit of concern, to say the least there. And the rest of the country, pretty quiet, a little bit of snow around the Great Lakes, but that's about it. So as we take a look at our big picture here, again, we're looking at the rains down along the Gulf Coast. Very cold, bitterly cold air here, minus 19 there. Look at 1 below zero there in Minneapolis. So very, very frigid cold air as this kind of moves on in. The first of a series of cold air that's going to be coming down here across a big portion of the country. Let's take a closer look in here on some of this rain down here into the Florida Panhandle. Some pretty steady rains across Valdosta, back toward Tifton, Tallahassee, back toward Panama City. And you may see just a few rumbles of thunder out there in the Gulf Coast area. But that's about it, really. In fact, if you take a look at the latest from the Storms Prediction Center here, that's the only place where we got thunderstorms really for the next few days. We got a few thunderstorm chances just right off the coast there with some of that rain that's moving through for today. But other than that, that's it, folks. In fact, it's going to be pretty quiet as far as the severe weather front is concerned here for the next several days. We don't have any real significant chances of heavy rains anywhere for the next 3 days. That's looking quiet. But the big news story is going to be the bitterly cold temperatures that we're expecting here, not only for this week. Obviously, we have a big hazards outlook here for some of this cold here across the big part of the country from the high plains even into the deep south. But this looks like this will continue into next week as well, with some of the coldest temperatures of the season coming on down. So let's go ahead. First, we're going to take a look at the latest high-resolution model data. We're going to look at the short-term forecast here as we're going to be tracking this precipitation down here across the Gulf Coast area there. That's going to be exiting on out here. And then we'll be watching. You'll be seeing a little bit more of the lake effect snows up into the Great Lakes. That'll be kicking in here over the next 40 hours. So this is going to take us out here as we head toward your Wednesday. So that moves on out of here. But the big story here, look at that. A lot of the country pretty quiet this week. In fact, temperatures will briefly moderate just a little bit for some people, but otherwise we're going to be seeing just some snows here going into your throughout the day on Tuesday. The Great Lakes will be firing up here around Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, obviously firing up a little bit. Little snows there into West Virginia as well. A little upsloping there with some of that cold air coming down. And but looking pretty quiet there. Maybe a little rain down there across South Texas popping up down here now in the Brownsville area here as we head toward the 14th and going into your 15th. Now let's go and take a look at the jet stream. That is that river of air that drives our weather systems across the country. And boy, is it amplified. I mean, when I say amplified, it's got a lot of amplitude in it, that's for sure. Big waves and dips here. So what I'm going to be watching here going into next week is going to be the development of this next big trough that's coming on in. So we got this initial trough kind of moving on in as we head toward the end of the week. And then it kind of looks like it takes a little bit of a break. Like I said, we're going to get a little bit of a break here as these jet streams are not quite phased together. So that means we'll moderate the temperatures just a little bit going into Friday and Saturday, but that's temporary. Don't get used to it because we're going to see a big dive in the jet stream here. Here it comes, diving on down right in here. Now, the question is, are we going to get anything to develop down here? Right now, the models have backed off this. For the last couple of days, it's been hinting at perhaps a Gulf low developing here. Right now, the European is backed off that solution, but it's with a jet stream this amplified going into Monday and Tuesday going like this. And you got this right here. So you have to watch that area down there to see if you're going to get anything to develop. Right now, it is not showing it, but any kind of slight deviation in this jet stream pattern could mean we see development of a low pressure system that could track along the Gulf Coast and then heading up the eastern seaboard. Right now, not there, but again, it could show up. We'll have to watch closely here in the days ahead. But boy, this is going to be dumping in some very bitterly cold air here, coming right out of Canada, really coming over the Siberia and coming down into the United States here, going into the 21st and 22nd. And it looks like it just stays in place there, going into the 23rd there and into the 24th. Now, the tail end of this run is showing some indications that we might start to see some changes. We got one little dive here coming down here, going toward the 28th, but it looks like as we head on out, looks like the jet stream starts to weaken a little bit here. It comes a little discombobulated. So that means the temperatures here across a big part of the country as we head toward the 27th may get to moderate a little bit. So looks like we got a prolonged period of maybe 12, 13 days of some pretty cold temperatures, and then we're going to see maybe a bit of a break as we head closer to the end of February. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest on here on the European model here. There's that disturbance getting on out of here. Really, I guess with this cold air that's going to be kind of blowing in across the Great Lakes, the lake effect machines are definitely going to be on big time. The other part of the story, obviously, we're talking about Southern California. I do not see any rainfall coming up down here for the next couple of weeks. It's staying pretty much on the dry side, that ridging of high pressure. Obviously, with the big trough here in the east, we're going to hold on to high pressure there in the west, and that just means it's going to stay bad. Now, we got this series of snows. We got little snows across the Great Lakes heading into this upcoming Thursday. Then we got another plunge coming down here. Here's some rains across the southeast as we go into Saturday. Again, we're going to get a slight warm-up here going toward Friday, and you kind of see this, as I back this up, you can see the 540 freezing line is retreated northward there a little bit going toward Friday and Saturday. But again, that's just temporary, as we're going to see a big blast comes on down here going in towards Sunday, and just really kind of settles on here as we head toward Monday and Tuesday. But again, we're going to watch that configuration of that jet stream to see if we get anything to develop down here. Right now, nothing. I was showing there the last couple of runs before this, but now it's gone again. So we'll see if that trend continues or not, or if it doesn't pop up in another run here later today. So, but the big story is going to be that bitterly cold air. I mean, we'll have temperatures here below zero here across areas of the Midwest, that's for sure. As we look at some very bitterly cold air that'll be coming down here on your next Tuesday, and pretty much stays in place all next week. We got another shock coming down here heading toward Thursday. You see the snow is erupting across the Great Lakes here across Missouri and back across the high plains there a little bit as we head toward the 23rd. That's January the 23rd there. And then this plunges on down to the south once again, kind of reinforcing what's in place right to the 25th. Then once we get past the 25th, we're going to see this cold air begin to retreat. We're going to start to move on out of here, and we'll get a little bit of a break. Remember, that jet stream began to move back to the north again. So as I take this all the way out, by the time we get toward the 27th, end of the day on the 27th, your freezing line is way back up here, just plain old rain here in the middle of the country. So looks like we get a bit of a change there as we head toward the 27th. Now the question is this going to be a set pattern shift, or is this just a temporary reprieve before we get another slot of cold air coming down as we wrap up the month of January? So stay tuned. We'll see if that turns into a trend or not. It's definitely been one of the colder Januaries we've had across the continental United States in a few years, that's for sure. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the rainfall amounts here. I'm going out here for the next 72 hours here. Predominantly going to be here across the south, the Gulf Coast states. Obviously, that rain, that system moving on through there. We have some Great Lakes snows here, but most of the country, and unfortunately down to Southern California, nothing. And unfortunately, the next 3 days going out to 10, again, a whole lot of nothing out there, unfortunately. As we go on out to 240 here, we get to the next system coming in for this weekend, bringing the rains across the deep south, going into Saturday especially, and clearing out on Sunday. And I'll go ahead and stop this right here about 240. So obviously you see the enhanced areas of precipitation here across the Great Lakes, obviously with a series of cold air that's going to be driving it across those relatively milder Great Lakes. A significant amount of snows will be piling up once again, especially there near Buffalo, for example, and down near near Erie. That's going to be quite significant there. But again, a lot of the west here staying very much on the dry side. Let's go ahead and take a look at those snow totals here. We'll go ahead and talk about that as we look out here for the next 10 days. I'll take this all the way out to about 240. As once again, we'll see again that snow totals here will be quite significant, probably measuring in the feet once again across areas of the Great Lakes because of the snow coming in here. And then we get a little bit here of the mountain snows, but no major storm systems as of right now. again, I got to reiterate the fact that the last two runs on the European was trying to develop some sort of Gulf low, and boy, was it dumping some big time snows down here across the south. Not showing it today, but if that jet stream configuration changes just a little bit to where we get any kind of cyclogenesis, which is a fancy word for a low to develop there in the Gulf Coast and track up toward the northeast, this map will change significantly. So I'm going to be watching that closely for any changes here in the days ahead. Let's talk about the temperature anomaly map. This is also the big part of the story, is the bitterly cold air that's going to come in. Now, the good news is we got most of the country here for like heading in toward Tuesday. Obviously, a lot of the country here is looking at below normal temperatures. Now, as we head toward Friday and Saturday, remember we got that little bit of that reprieve coming at us here. As we go toward Friday, you're going to notice a little more red lighting up on this map here. So, hey, Friday, that's not bad. Hey, we got at least a little bit milder above normal temperatures here in the middle of the country. But once we said, like we said before, it's going to come to an end as that cold air is going to dump down going into Sunday and Monday. Look how much of the country here. And we're talking areas here like this purple areas. You're talking temperatures here 30 plus degrees below normal for this time of year. And that's what's diving down going into Monday and Tuesday. And look at that, goes right into the Ohio River Valley here going into next week. So like I said, we could see some temperatures down near 0 or below going into that area going into next week. Obviously, South Florida is also looking at some very big chills down there. Look at these temperatures down here. You see the purple 30 below normal temperatures there across Florida. So they're going to be really, really chilly down that way. And then looks like this stays in place. We get another shot comes down here. There's another shot coming down here going toward Friday, the 24th. That stays in place. So a lot of the country is still looking below normal. And then as we take it on out, we'll go all the way out to the 27th. We see that cold air moving into the 25th. And then we get, oh, look at this. Ooh, that little bit, we get a bit of a break here. At least that's what it's showing right now. It's showing a big part of the country here looking at above normal temperatures, maybe toward the 27th. So maybe get a bit of a chance to catch our breath here with the winter weather, especially across the eastern half of the United States. But for right now, as far as the climate center is concerned, it's staying very much on the cold side. Let's go ahead and take a look at that climate outlook here. The next 6 to 10 day outlook, obviously with that bitterly cold Arctic air coming in across the country, well below normal, really from coast to coast here as we go from the 18th through the 22nd. And as we go out the 20th to the 26th, again, most of the country looking at below normal temperatures, okay? So the question mark is going to be with all this cold air in place right now. Right now, as far as the next couple of weeks are concerned with the European, there's not a lot of major storm systems out there showing up right now. Although right now the outlook here is calling for above normal precipitation here across the East Coast from the 18th to the 22nd. I think that's all dependent on if we get any kind of coastal low or something to develop here. Because right now, based off what the European model is showing it, you would think this would be below normal right now, but we'll see if it changes later today. Obviously dry out here on the West Coast, unfortunately. We just cannot get any rain out there in Southern California. Looking out from January 20th to the 26th, again, showing above normal precipitation across the Southeast. Dry in the Midwest, still dry out there in the West Coast, unfortunately. Only a place above normal here across the high plains. Alaska's looking a little snowy. They're looking at above normal there. But again, not looking too good for those folks out there in Southern California. You could use some help from Mother Nature to bring in some rain. And unfortunately, it does not appear that's going to be in the cards for right now. Just looking at the very, very cold temperatures across a lot of the country. And with the cold setting up, those Santa Ana winds, obviously, we get the high pressure ridging out in the west. That means those winds could kick up. Obviously, the next couple of days are going to be bad. And then the other part of the story here is to make sure that we don't get this winter storm. I was looking, the last couple of model runs were showing European was trying to develop some sort of Gulf low. This morning it went away, but I still think it might come back in the cards. We'll see if that works out for us there. Hey, if you're new to the channel and you have not yet subscribed to us, please do so at this time. Go and hit that subscribe button. It'd be an honor and privilege to have you on board here for today. And if you got a comment or you got something you'd like to see, please also leave that down below. All right, that's your update for your Monday. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.